The debate around religion and its impact on, especially the African, individual has been widely documented, with most commentators suggesting religion has caused more harm than good to Africa's human capital development. What is your take on this?
If you had asked me about the church, I would have given you a different answer. But you asked me about religion. So I'll give you the same answer, that religion, and that's why Christ warned against religion, because religion is not faith, religion is not Christianity. Religion is one of the things that has been used to keep society where it is instead of where it ought to be. Having laid that correction in place, I will borrow the words of Pastor Mensa Otabil from the conversation, the interview that I had with him yesterday, along with my colleagues in time with Pastor Otabil, and say that the church is the single most influential and the most significant contributor to our nation in the past 40 years. Let me add, again, borrowing. When you borrow somebody's thoughts, you can borrow. It's allowed.
Yeah, it's allowed.
And he explained it by saying that if we will step back, you see, in life, if I go and find one radio station somewhere doing something that is wrong, I don't use that one to measure radio stations and their contributions. Radio stations, like, even look at this person, what they're doing with that station. I can find everything I look for in life, I can find it. So I can find a few radio stations doing the wrong thing. But if you looked at the model of social cohesion, social mobilization, what the church has achieved, and use it as a sociological study of how people can be mobilized, that can be used for developmental purposes. I believe it with all my heart. In fact, I've always said that. But former German President Horst Kohler came to Ghana several years ago as a guest of President Kufuor for, at that time, ex-President Kufuor, for the Kufuor Foundation or something. And he gave a lecture at the Great Hall, and I went. And he gave an illustration that I've never forgotten. He says, in the developmental matrix, it's like people in a queue. If people are in a queue and they know that the traffic will move, they stay in the traffic. After a while, the traffic moves a little and they stay. And they are fine. Even though it's inconvenient, they are fine. When they see people jump the queue and they can cross and enter at the front and nobody stops them, they ask themselves, what is the point in staying in the queue? I borrowed from that story, as I do with every story I hear. And it struck me that in a system with a lot of unemployment, a lot of difficulties for young people, a lot of agitation, the reason why the young people of this country still keep trying again, pushing and staying in the queue is because an institution called the church gives them hope. Plus, very often, strategy. Not just the church, but also what you may want to call the motivational or self-development arena provides them with a belief, a hope that, listen, you will also become somebody. So with that patience that they get, they stay in the queue and try working hard until they break through. Otherwise, what happens in other jurisdictions will happen. Where when people feel that unemployment is too high, they hit the streets,
they fight
government, they fight. I've seen it, even videos this year. When people feel that they cannot handle the heat anymore, they fight the system. The reason why the young people of Ghana are still in the traffic and in the queue is because the church and the self-development arena provide them with hope and with strategy to keep at it until they break through. So in my opinion, the church is a huge contributor to the national developmental effort.
This is YFM.